Hi there. Thanks for joining me for another video on USB ODE, my personal project that I've been working on for the past about 6 months or so. In this new video, I'm going to explain some of the new features that we have, the new installation method, as well as the 4 different Raspberry Pi models that we're now supporting. So let me start off by showing all of the different supports. So if you can recall, the original version supported the Raspberry Pi 02W. So this one here is still supported. So 02W, this is your base entry model. For important note of this project, I have the one with the headers, so it's easy to put on a hat. This one takes USB, I think that's micro USB connections, and it also has a micro HDMI connection. That's important for a little bit later on in the discussion, and also takes a MicroSD card. So we also support, in the previous version, we also supported the Raspberry Pi 0W. So this is also a Raspberry Pi 0W. This one's version 1.1. I'm not sure if you can make it out on the screen, but it's, the USB ODE currently supports that as well. In addition, the original version of USB ODE also supported the Raspberry Pi 3A+. So you can notice that there's a single USB port on this device. It has a standard HDMI out, MicroSD, and also has PWM audio through this headphone jack. PWM audio isn't high quality, but it works for if you need CD audio in a pinch. And the latest model that we have that's being supported by USB ODE is this one right here, the Pi 4B. So this one has a bunch of USB ports on it, but important to note, the USB that you would use is actually the USB-C connector. So you would need to get a cable, like a standardized USB-C to A cable. So you plug this into your retro PC, and you plug this side into your Pi 4. There's only a single port for that. And also of important note, this one has the mini HDMI connectors. So I have here a mini HDMI to standard HDMI adapter, and and it has 2 HDMI ports, but for the USB ODE project, we're only leveraging the first, so HDMI 1, so that's the one that's closest to the USB-C port. So that's the one we would use, and that's the one right there. And let me just plug it in to demonstrate it. So that's how it would look like if you had an adapter on it. Okay, so yes, some of the big feature for the current version is we're supporting CD audio now. Also, the software's been entirely rewritten, and it's using a base C++. So it takes about 7 minutes to start up, or 7 seconds to start up from scratch. So it's much faster than the original version. We do have a bug as of September 6th, 2025, which is the day that I'm filming this video, where booting is not working right now. Well, I've tried it against the Llama and the ITX Llama, and it's not working. We're investigating. I'm exploring some possible solutions with the framework developer for Circle, the Circle project. So, and what does USB ODE do? It takes a Pi, whichever one of the 4 I've listed, and it turns it into a USB CD-ROM drive, which can be used in MS-DOS or Windows 9X or moderner versions of Windows. We do have some issues on the latest version of Windows with the current builds, but hopefully we'll resolve those in the near future. Okay, so in addition to the 4 different Raspberry Pi models, USBODE currently supports this Waveshare OLED 1.3-inch hat. It has buttons and the screen. And it also supports the Pirate Audio line out hat. This is PIM483, and I'll have some links in the description. These are all hats that you can just place on top of a Raspberry Pi with headers. So you can they just fit in like this. It's important to be aware that I've seen some issues with people using, if the headers are soldered on backwards, like what you might find in an ITX Llama Pi 02W, where like if the headers are on the bottom, the hats aren't compatible. However, we also have HDMI support for audio, so you can get like an HDMI audio extractor and connect that in, so that'll work, as well as we also support PWM audio, as I mentioned before. So both the Raspberry 3A Plus and the Raspberry 4B have headphone jacks, which is wired in through PWM. There's also you can also tap, I can't recall which pins they are, but you can tap pins in the GPIO in order to generate PWM audio, but it's not a very good audio quality. So again, something you can use in a pinch if you need it. Oh, another thing to note that the so mentioned with a 3A Plus model, it has this USB-A port. This is the one that we would use. So you would need to get a special USB cable, which is USB-A to A, in order for us to use this model as part of for USBODE. So now let's head over and do the setup video. Okay, so setting up USBODE is very straightforward. Let's go ahead and run through that process. So first off, we're going to have to go and download the Raspberry Pi Imager app. So go do that and install it. So Raspberry Pi Imager, here it is in my search history. And let's take the first link. And here we go. You can hit the download button. I've already downloaded it, but I probably deleted it. Oh, here it is. And you just install this application. It's very straightforward. And then once you do that, you can run it. Okay, I just have a UAC prompt right now. I'm going to click yes. All right, and here we can see it's this is the Raspberry Pi Imager app. I think it's, what is it? Control-Shift-X to bring up this option screen. I'm going to go here and hit options, and I'm going to uncheck eject media when finished. That should save us a step later on, unless there's a bug in this version. Okay, and now we're going to go and download the latest release of USBODE. At the time of the video, it's 2.6.0 beta 3. So github.com/DannyFunker/USBODE-circle. And we're going to go under releases. And let's just grab the latest release here. And because I'm using a 02W, let's get the 64-bit version. So just download that. And I've already done that, even though it's only 34 megs. So once you've downloaded it, let's go ahead where it says, where it says choose operating system, you click on that, you scroll all the way down, and you click on use custom, and let's pick the 64-bit version. And you have to use the 32-bit version only if you're using the Raspberry Pi 0W. Press OK, choose storage, and let's pick our SD card. So make sure Make sure you inserted your SD card before you hit that button there. I already have. It's a 1 terabyte SD card. You can see that. All right, and then click Next. Do you want to apply OS customization? Say no. Are you sure you want to continue? And just say yes here. All right, it's going to open up it's going to write the image to the SD card. And we'll see if the Imager 1.9.6 has a bug, the same bug that I've seen on the Mac. All right, it takes about, less than a minute to complete. Okay, it says we can remove the SD card from the reader. Now let's do a quick check here, and yeah, it did eject it. Okay, so with this version here, it doesn't matter if you did that, the hotkey in order to bring up the menu. I think there's a bug. I've already filed a bug report with the Raspberry Pi Imager software. So anyways, take out the SD card and plug it back in to the computer. And here we can see 2 drives when we load it up. So there's the bootfs and the IMG store. So don't write anything to the IMG store when you see the README file there, because that whole partition is going to get formatted. So if you see README, don't use it. I'm going to bootfs here. Now, what we're going to do first is we're going to put our Wi-Fi credentials in. So let's go in here, edit with Notepad, or you can use Notepad++. Make sure you change your country. So I'm in the US, so let's put countries US, and type in your wireless SSID and wireless password. And if you need any other advanced options for your wireless setup, this is a standard WPA-supplicant.conf. I'm not familiar with all the different advanced options, but go ahead and you can, if you're familiar with it, you can set up the Wi-Fi however you need to using the standard WPA-supplicant.conf. I'm going to put in my wireless network information. It's stored in plain text, so I won't be able to show this part of the video to you, but once I'm done, I'll close the file out and we'll resume the setup. All right, so I've written the file, and now let's do a quick chat about the config file. So if you're using a Waveshare display, you're going to want to go into the config file over here and scroll down and find where it says display hat, and then just change that to Waveshare, like that. If you're using the Pirate Audio lineout, there's no need to even go into this file here. But I'm just this only applies to the Waveshare. So, all right. Now, once we're done, we're going to go ahead and actually, because I had a hard time filming this, I'm actually going to change the brightness. Hopefully, we can pick up this setup a little bit easier on the next boot. Okay, and let's go ahead and eject this. And so now it's ejected, and now we're going to take a look to see what it looks like on the actual device itself. Okay, so it's time for the setup on the on-device portion. So I've already plugged in the MicroSD card, and I'm just going to go ahead and plug in the micro USB into the port that's closest to the HDMI port, so this port right here, the one that I'm pointing at. All right, do that right here. It's a little tricky holding this camera. Okay, and we can see immediately as it's starting up, there's a green light that starts flashing, and the screen will start up. Okay, so now it says system setup, init setup, wait 60 seconds. So it takes a maximum of 60 seconds to complete this, depending on your SD card. Usually it's done a little bit sooner. But here we go. So what it's doing is it's going to format that IMG store partition and extend that partition out to the end of the disk. And then there's a handful of like system ISO files that we're moving over from the package that we flashed into the IMG store partition. Okay, and then it's going to go ahead, finalize, and restart automatically. Okay, so here we can see it's now done. We can see the image.iso, and it has an address, an IP address from my device. So let's take a look at what's going on with the retro computer, and we can, so let's do that. Okay, so here I am on my ITX Llama. I'm inside of Windows 98 right now. It's plugged in, so we should see a test ISO right there, which is loaded. So let's go into it, and we'll see 3 files here. So we'll see here there's the image that you can see in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. There's actually 2 versions of the image. One's a PNG and the other one's a bitmap. And then there's also like a little text file here. So once we know this is, once we can see all this stuff, we know that it's working. So let's go ahead and pull the plug on the USBODE. So I'm just going to disconnect it gracefully, ungracefully. It doesn't matter too much in this version here. And we should see the eject is gone, and the disk is no longer listed in Windows Explorer here. Here you go. And then just to demonstrate, let me plug it back in right now. Okay, I'm plugging it in, and I'm waiting. And boot screen came up, and now we can see the ISO is here. So there we go, pretty cool. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to the modern PC, and we're going to copy some ISOs and bin files that we have for it. So I just plugged the MicroSD card back into my modern PC. So let's flip back to the modern PC here. So we can see that the image store is now like almost a terabyte. And that README file is gone. We have a couple of images. There's an audio sampler, which we're going to play in a minute. And there's also the bootfs. So we've already gone over the bootfs stuff. There's also a log file in case you have to do any like troubleshooting or debugging. So if you need to, you can provide that log file to us in the Discord. But for right now, let's go ahead and drop in some additional files that I have for sampling different games and stuff. So here are the different files that I have. So there's Carmageddon, Command and Conquer, and Grand Theft Auto. So I'm going to just copy all those files over into Image Store. Let's just drop them here into the root. At the time of the video, the USBODE doesn't support folder structures right now, so just put everything in the root. And this is going to take, about 2 minutes and 45 seconds, so I'll just skip past this as part of the video. Okay, and we can see it's finishing up now. All right, so here we have Carmageddon bin and queue files, the Grand Theft Auto bin and queue files. So just be aware that we need single bin queue matches. There's a utility you can use, which you can read in the README, in order to adjust your bin queue files for the way how it supports it. And also, we don't actually read the name of the file from the queue. So make sure that the file names are the same and the same case sensitivity. So just heads up on all that. All right, so now let's go ahead and eject this this from my PC safely again, and we'll plug it back into the retro PC. And I'll do a quick tour on how to utilize the web interface as well. Okay, so I've plugged it in to the retro PC. We can let me open up my computer. We can see that the eject icon is there, so pretty sure it's loaded. Okay, so here it is. We still have the test ISO loaded up. Now let's go to the web interface on the modern computer. It's http:// or whatever IP address that your thing is, or you can try using the name. So this should be USBODE.local. Does it work? Nope. Oops. Nope. Okay. So it may work on your network better than mine. It may not. Okay, I'm going to go to the IP address. So 192.168.196. Okay, and here we can see all the different files that we copied over earlier. And right now it's the image.iso file. So don't delete this image.iso file. It's required for the system at all times. We'll do a quick check here. So if we wanted to load up the audio sampler, we can just click on it here. And we can check on the retro computer now that, let me just refresh. Sometimes it takes a second for Windows to realize the CD is loaded up. All right, and here we can see it says audio TST. So this is also an included file. We can see that there's a README here. And so there's also an MP3 sample of the same audio track that is going to be played. So we're going to just run this quickly. Well, a good way of making sure your audio is set up correctly is first by going into the web interface and then going under configuration. We can see here, so for audio, it's using I2S. There's a couple of other options here. And you can click on execute sound test, and that will play a PCM file over your over whatever the audio output is. So you should be able to hear it from the computer. So I'm going to hit that right now, and then I'm going to quickly switch back to the retro PC. So we should be hearing the sound test. And okay, now let's go back to the modern computer. We can see here it says sound test executed successfully. You can take a look at the logs. Sometimes if you're having issues, there's things that are logged in here. So, but we can see here that the sound test completed successfully. So should be working now. All right, so let's go ahead and make sure that the CD audio is working. So if I open up Windows 98 CD player, I'm going to go to track 2 here and hit the play button, and we should be hearing some classical music. So, and then I think it isolates the channel. The first isolation happens around now, which is left audio only, and then it switches to the right audio, to the right only audio channel, and then after that happens, all of the sounds kind of like kick back in. So this is really good for just doing general tests, making sure your cables is working and everything. So yeah, so that's pretty straightforward. Okay, so the main reason why many people want to use USBODE is to play games. So let's go ahead and change the disk. This time we're gonna use the device interface. I'm gonna use the Pirate Audio to change the disk, and then I'll show you how it's working. Okay, so here we can see the.
Sorry.
Here we can see the screen, and we can see the IP address is on the first line, and we're in high-speed mode, and the name of the CD is listed on the bottom. So if I press button A or B, that'll bring me to the CD loading menu. We'll go into that shortly. I'm going to press this X button here, and that's going to bring us to the advanced menu. So here we have some different options. You can pick, and Y is to confirm. So here we can pick if we want our USB in high speed or full speed. Full speed is USB 1.1, a lot better for some traditional retro computers. We can also change the logging configuration, which is like how much is logged, change the timeout, like the screen timeout. We can also power it off, or we can look at the build info. So all these things are in there. Sorry, let me just try to make this screen a little bit clearer again. Oh, here it is. Okay, perfect. So, okay, so let's go ahead and change the disk that's loaded. Sorry, I got a cat here. All right, so right now we have the USB ODE. So we're going to switch to the, let's try the Grand Theft Auto, and then to use A and B for up and down, and then press Y to confirm. So let's now take a quick look at the retro PC. And we should see, so now here it says Grand Theft Auto, and this is the GTA disk. All right, so let's go ahead and install this, but that's going to take a little while. So we'll stop back in after that's done, and we're going to try to launch the game later. Okay, so now that GTA has been installed, let's go ahead and configure it. So let's go into here, Windows 95, okay, GTA settings, and okay, sure. I don't have a Sidewinder gamepad. All right, okay, so now let's go ahead and run the game. Oh, it's enter, okay. All right, so let's reload the game. Oops.
Good shot, kid. I think you got him. Grand Theft Auto.
Here we go. In order for the USB to work correctly in Windows 95, it's best to download and install the NUSB 3.6 package. So you can get that from Phil's Computer Lab. So let's go here. So Phil's Computer Lab. And what are we looking for here? Software. Phil's Computer Lab. Windows 98 USB. That's what we're looking for. Here it is. Okay, so you want this one here, the NUSB 36e.exe. So download that and install that on your Windows 9X computer before trying to, if you're having any issues using USB ODE in Windows 98. I haven't had any issues both on my retro PC and on my my Llama after installing that package. Okay, so now let's switch over to MS-DOS. Okay, before I switch into MS-DOS, we're just going to take a look at what we need in order to configure it for MS-DOS. So let me go under my computer here. So I have a different hard disk for my MS-DOS stuff. So let me show you what we need to do. So go in, let me show you what's in the config.sys. All right. So, okay, so this is what I'm using here. So, wait. Okay, so I'm using the USB ASPI1.sys. The other one that works really well is the USB ASPI.exe, the community one. That's actually the one that I've been recommending because it gives USB ODE a chance to start up if you need it. There's some special switches. I have in my I have the Llama and I have a traditional retro PC, a Pentium 3. I think it's like 450 or something. And in that one, I have I'm using the USB ASPI.exe first, and I have it set up to wait, so it can initialize the USB ports, or it will initialize the USB ports, and then USB ODE still takes a few seconds to load up. So I have it pause and I press enter for it once USB ODE is started up correctly, and then that way USB ASPI will detect the USB CD-ROM drive. Okay, once you put that line in, you put in the USB CD1.sys, and this is the name that I use for like MSDOS. And then under MSDEX, or sorry, for my autoexec.bat, let's take a look at that here. And we can see here that, here it is. Okay, so I'm actually assigning my drive letter X. And so when we restart the computer, we should see GTA as drive letter X. So let's go ahead here. We'll do start, shut down, restart. Okay, we're going to play a different game though. Okay, so first here you can see my Voodoo 3 cards being initialized. And this is the ITX Llama screen. Okay, let's go here, press escape for the boot menu. I'm going to press number 2, so we're going to boot into MS-DOS. Okay, and let's do DOS with CD-ROM. Okay, so we can see here it's scanning and it found the USB ODE, which is basically a Panasonic drive. And here we go. So now if I go into the X drive, we should see, we still see the GTA is still loaded up. Okay, now if we want to switch disks, let's go ahead on the modern PC, and we'll just use the web interface because it's easier to film that way. Now let's load up, what, Tomb Raider? No, I don't have Tomb Raider. We're going to load up, I guess, Carmageddon. I don't know if I have that installed yet. Okay, so we're using Carmageddon here. Let's switch back to the retro PC. So let's do a dir/w, retry, and here it is. We can now see that Carmageddon is loaded up. So do I have it installed? I do. Okay, so I can just run Karma from here. Register later. Okay. All right, let's slow this down a little bit. Okay. All right, new game. All right, we're going to do max damage. We're going to do easy because I'm not very good at this game. And as you know, this game does have CD audio. So once we load into the game itself, then we should be hearing our CD audio playing.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Buttons again. But yeah, I'm getting smoked right now. But interesting. Okay, perfect. Times. And I think I died. Hopefully at least it's playing. And yeah, I think that's pretty good. Now so let's put the game here. And I'm going to stop this session from recording, and then we'll do a quick review of the Waveshare display, and then we're done. Okay, so just before we switch to the Waveshare, we're going to actually switch it in the USBODE configuration. So you load up the USBODE. You can look on configuration here. I'm going to switch the hat to the Waveshare OLED. If you have a different SH1106 screen, you can select the generic one. Same thing with the ST7789. Those are the actual display devices that are on these hats. For my purposes, I'm just going to use the Waveshare OLED. It doesn't respect these brightness settings, so it's kind of just one brightness on the Waveshare OLED, so don't worry about that. And I'm also going to demonstrate how the CD audio is set up here. So we're going to switch to HDMI audio. So we're going to switch this over to HDMI audio as well. Okay, and then let's go ahead and let's save and reboot. Okay, and now I'll show you the HDMI setup. Okay. Webcam. Okay, here we go. So the HDMI setup is this. So I have a HDMI audio extractor. I got one from Amazon a while back. This one's the 10 oak. I have a audio in or HDMI in, and then there's needs power, so it's got power over there. My my special cable is connected into the audio out port, and we can see that this is the other side of the HDMI cable. I'm going into the HDMI extractor, and here's the Waveshare OLED. So it's pretty straightforward. There's like kind of like a handful of keys here that are actually useful. So key 1 is like the OK or enter key. Key 2 is the cancel or advanced menu key. And then you go up and down, left and right, and you can, that's just to navigate the file lists and stuff. Okay, so if we if you press key 1, we'll see here the screen. So we can see here we still have Carmageddon loaded up, and the IP address is the same. And so if we want to switch the disks, so I'm going to press key 1 again. And here we have a list of different disks here. So let's go ahead and we'll do Command and Conquer. And but that doesn't have CD audio on it, so maybe we will do some, well, we'll just load this up here quickly, and then I'll show you. I think Carmageddon crashed my computer, so let's go back onto the retro PC here. We're going to load back into to MS-DOS, so I'm going to press number 2 here, and we're going to pick DOS with CD-ROM again. Okay, it's loading, as you can see. Okay, the screen goes into sleep mode, and that's configurable. You can set it to 0, and it'll disable sleep mode entirely, but I prefer to extend the life of my screens. Okay, so let's go into CD Karma, no, Interplay. Okay. And this will probably crash my computer again, but whatever, probably needs a reinstall. Okay, new game. And it says insert the Carmageddon CD. Okay. So we have the Command and Conquer disk loaded up. So let's go into here and let's switch this back to Carmageddon. Okay, and let's do new game. And it still says the same thing. Okay, let me reload the game. Here we go. This is loading. What do you want?
Five, four, three, two, one, go!
I still don't remember how to actually play this game. Oh wait, someone notified. Ah, here it is. That's a good one. Okay,
Sorry.
let's go ahead and fix that. Oh, okay, perfect. It worked this time. Now if I load up the Command and Conquer game, you can see here it's just using the thing. Okay, Command and Conquer. Okay, it's loaded up. Now if I go into my X drive, I don't think I have this game installed yet. So and here we go. We can run through the setup here. So this one doesn't have CD audio, but you know it's still cool. What am I? Microsoft Sound System. Sound driver not compatible. Okay. Which one do I have? Sonic? Nope. Sound Blaster. Okay, here we go. Okay, anyway, so this one, you know, this is just a regular setup for a game that we just loaded in. So this isn't too important right now. So let's just swap back to the modern PC. There's a couple of other features I wanted to show you about. So one of my favorite features is actually the FTP server that's on the USB ODE. So my retro PC isn't actually connected to the internet at all. If you go ahead and you download FileZilla and install it into here, then once it loads on this computer, here we go. Okay, so new site. So we're going to do USB ODE and 192.168.99.196. You want to make sure that it is only in secure, and you can just log in with anonymous. Make sure you only set one connection per connect, because it doesn't. It's an integrated device, so like, you know, I can't do too much at the same time. All right, and then once it's done, once this is ready, you hit the connect button. Sure, let's say passwords, doesn't matter. Okay, allow and secure FTP, and we can see here that the one folder. So this loads up all of our bin.q files. If we wanted to copy another file over, let's see if I have anything that's small. Okay, let's take this. I think I only got this DaniTech V8, or the G-parted, sure. Actually, we'll do the DaniTech, I think. Okay, and then you just drop this over here, and you can see it's copying it's FTPing the file over. We get somewhere between like 1 and 2 megabytes per second, depending as to like how far you are from your router, you know, all that fun stuff. But this is really cool because it allows me to copy files onto my retro PC without having the retro PC connected directly to the internet, and like without having to like move disks and stuff. So you can go ahead and make an ISO of whatever files you want to copy onto it, and then just transfer that ISO over, and then you can load it. Once this is done copying, well, even probably before it's done copying, we can still probably see. Nope. Okay. All right. So once it's done copying, we'll be able to see the file in the file list. And let me just pause the video so you don't have to wait the few minutes that's going to take. Okay, so we've got about 15 seconds left on the FTP transfer. It's taken about as long as it thought it would take. So once this is done, we'll flip back and we'll try to refresh it. Okay, here we go. So we can see the files transferred now. Let's go ahead and refresh our. Here it is. So it is now DaniTech V8. So you can see that here. So we can load that up. All right, now let's double check. I have no idea if the Retro PC will be able to read this. It might be a UDF disk. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Okay, on the Retro PC here. Oh, we were doing an install. Yeah. Okay, so let's just restart this thing. See what happens. Sure, let's run in. Let's see what happens in MS-DOS. I mean, who knows what's going to happen, right? Let's do Windows 3.11 for SMGs. Okay, it still finds the CD-ROM. Oh, I haven't been able to get CD audio working in Windows 3.11. Just give you a heads up on that. Okay, all right, and here we are. So let's go under File Manager, and we can see the X drive there. Oh, it's actually working. That's really cool. All right, so here you can see the this is like some kind of Windows recovery disk that I built like maybe a decade ago, probably Windows 7, Windows 8.1, and yeah, here we can see the boot WIM file, and yeah, so we can, and let's also go ahead and just swap the. I'm going to just swap the disk maybe to Command and Conquer now. Okay, we all know how Windows File Manager in 3.1 worked, or didn't. So it won't refresh the disks at all. Okay, give it a second here. Oh, here it is, and here's the Command and Conquer disk. So there you go. Now let's do a quick check to see if I can possibly get the audio sampler working. I don't think it works, but you never know. I think there might be something I have to do. If anybody has any ideas, let me know. Okay, so here's the file. So we know the disk is loaded up now. And let's go into Media Player and Device, CD Audio, and hit the play. Oh, is this? It might start from the wrong spot. Let's start it from over here. Okay, it might actually be working. Interesting. Cool, well, I'll have to check this out. So maybe this even works. All right, awesome. All right, well, thank you very much. Oh, it's still playing probably. Okay, I'm gonna pull the CD. Okay, there we go. Okay, I just disconnected this ungracefully. Maybe we're missing some commands for this CD audio thing on Windows 3.11, but looks pretty cool. So thanks again for spending a whole bunch of time with me in this video, and I hope you enjoy the project. Visit the Discord if you'd like to be part of the community, and look forward to continuing to develop this USB ODE so it becomes even cooler and better. Thanks again. Bye now.